Hi, welcome to Board Story. I upload interesting stories once in every 2 days. To get to watch more interesting stories, smash the subscribe button. Turn on bell notification and like this video. It really encourages me to bring more stories. Without any further ado, let's hear out the story.
This is Luffy from Madaghar, and by age of 26, I was tired of emotional attachment. So, I broke up with my first love. I was bored of studies, thus, I had dropped off from my studies wanting something thrilling and interesting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a high-paying job and ended as delivery boy. I worked as delivery boy in McDonald's. Similarly, I was getting tired of 9-to-5 job and it seemed like I was getting lazier. Eventually, I googled good trekking places and found beautiful trekking place in one of the South Asian country, Nepal, also known as Land of Mountains, and decided to visit once. On the day of the 17th of October, I take off from Madaghar and came across beautiful mountain range before I landed on Kathmandu, also known as City of Temples. I had booked a hotel in Thamel and hired a local guide. The city was busy all day and a lot of UNESCO heritages within a city. I liked the architecture of temple and interested in the history behind the heritage site. After a week I visited Pokhara and went to Sarankot and got excited to see paragliding. Thus, I booked paragliding flight to give it a try. I was really excited to take beautiful leap from the top of hill. It was unlucky day due to high velocity of wind and did crash landing on Fuel Lake. Unable to swim, I was drowned. Luckily, squad of army saved me, but I was admitted to hospital. When I woke up, I was lying on the bed of the hospital. In the same hospital, I met a beautiful nurse who was taking care of me. I noticed she was kind and polite to patients. I was talking politely as well as flirting with her. I asked her phone number, and since she liked my personality, she didn't deny it. After hospital, I decided to get on Annapurna circuit trek. It was a beautiful place to trek. Everybody seemed to love their trekking. It was full of adventure, but my bad, I got lost and fell sick on the way in middle of jungle. Unable to find the way out, I asked for sauce help and finally I was rescued by local people. I didn't know I wasn't fully recovered by the time I began trekking. They provided me medical assistance and help to maintain vitality. Thus, I was sent to Pokhara for further treatment. And I was able to meet the same nurse on the hospital. I was fascinated by her beauty. I decided to propose her to marry. She was shy but ultimately accepted my proposal. We got married according to Nepalese tradition. After marriage we did farewell and went back to Madaghar. I quit the previous job and found job as waiter in restaurant. I liked one of the waitresses in the restaurant. Thus, I asked her on date on weekends since she was single and seeking to date somebody. My wife found out I was dating another woman. She was mad and asked me for reason. I lied to her and told she was close school friend and we were having good time with other friends sharing memories. Anjali and I had discussion for 3 days and she told she will return, never return. She returned back to Nepal without any further words. I was enjoying myself without her. I married the waitress I met on the restaurant. She didn't have the idea I was married. Anjali, after a couple of months, returned back to Madaghar and found about the circumstances. Thus, she filed a case in court. I was really pissed off of her arrival and actions. I threatened her to make life more miserable if she doesn't return back and take back her case. Unable to think thoroughly, I asked to divorce but she refused and told it is her home now. Anjali won the case and I was sentenced to prison for polygamy. My parents and brother weren't happy to find I was imprisoned. I was in prison for 5 years. She did come to visit me once or twice a month, but I would say I have no any relationship with you from the moment she filed a case. I was too bored in prison and missed the day I used to have freedom to roam freely on cities and pub during weekends. Finally, the day came when I was set out of prison after 5 years of imprisonment. I found my mother passed away a week ago. Before she died, she wanted me to know more about Anjali and forgive her for imprisonment. There was no way I could live rest of my life with her. I made a plan to make her divorce me, but she approached me with something before I was to execute my plans. She told I do have to live with her for 3 months and accept what she asks me to do, and willingly she will divorce. I was happy to hear and thus accepted her demand. For a couple of weeks, she served me with love and affection, and things begun to change. She was acting different than before after a month. She never placed her feet outside the house, stayed inside, and didn't talk to anybody. I never cared what happens to her. Before the day we were to divorce, my father was admitted to hospital for dialysis of both of his kidneys. He was on the verge of death and we wanted to do something. One of us need to donate him a kidney. We were lucky since she decided to donate one of her kidneys. The day we went to court, signed the document, she packed her stuff and parted our ways. We had planned everything beforehand and made agreement to split my property, but she refused to take any. After 2 days of successful kidney transplant, somebody donated one of the kidneys to our father and he had both of functioning kidneys. We were happy to find him in joyful and watery eyes. He wanted to thank Anjali and the unknown person for donation of kidneys, but Anjali had already left Madaghar. I wasn't in the mood to contact her, but it was my dad who tried to contact her. Unfortunately, she didn't receive the call. After Dad was in good health and recovered, he asked me to visit Nepal to thank her personally. I wasn't ready to meet her again. The day we went to her home, she was already weak, not even able to speak. Father told he is thankful to her and wished for her better health. We found she had been really struggling for life. What we found was she had emotional heart attack and emotional sickness since she returned for first time from Medikar. She never expressed her feelings and health condition to any one of us. Unfortunately, her health worsened and she passed away. Somewhere it felt like I am responsible for it but can't be helped. I had no emotional affection towards girls since my mother got into mental trauma because of Elizabeth. She was my first love. I was attracted towards them but have no emotional attachment. My dad felt sorry for her demise and got emotional. Although both of my parents were military personnels, I have never seen them getting emotional before. After a month we had returned to Medikar. It was a day when I got a letter from a man that says, "Will you accept her next time?" It was father of Elizabeth who gave the letter in my hand. I told him I will never accept her. The next day while I was busy preparing breakfast, somebody knocked the door. As I opened the door, there was the same person who appeared on the previous day, father of Elizabeth. But there was a figure behind him this time, and it was no other than Anjali. How is this possible? I asked her. She replied, "Who knows? Maybe I am Anjali, or maybe her twin sister, or maybe I am Elizabeth. Maybe it was me who lived with you after Anjali departed to Nepal for the first time, or maybe it was me whom you met in the hospital for second time." Well, I had no idea, whether it was Elizabeth or Anjali or her twin sister. What I had was hard time and mental dilemma. It's getting hard to deal with my feelings and emotional attachment. I find it better to deal it now than ever. My boy, as soon as he saw her, jumped right into her arms. He must have missed his mother. I told his mother is dead, but he denied the fact. She hugged him in her arms and asked him if he missed his mother. With tears in his eyes, he told her never ever to leave him again.